He was coarse and unrefined, and now he's dear and so unsure. I wonder why I didn't see it there before.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Disney movies you look at differently as an adult.
Teenagers, they think they know everything. You give them an inch, they swim all over you.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable animated films from the production studio's catalog that take on new, deeper meanings when you look at them with a grown-up perspective. Do you still enjoy these classic tales, or has age ruined them for you? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Finding Nemo. When you grow up, you go from relating to the kids in movies to their parents. The proof is that back in the day, we saw Nemo as a kid who's being smothered by his dad Marlin.
And back in, and then one more time, out and back in. And sometimes, if you want to do it 4 times,
Dad.
all right, come on, boy.
We fully wanted him to have an epic, independent escapade. But oh, how our perspective has widened. We now see that Marlin just wants to keep his kids safe out of love.
No, Dad, just because you're scared of the ocean.
Clearly you're not ready and you're not coming back until you are. You think you can do these things, but you just can't, Nemo.
I hate you.
Sure, he is overdoing it, but it's normal when you consider the trauma he's experienced having lost his wife and other children. His fear and determination to make things right take on a way deeper meaning.
Should have been Sydney Harbour in a matter of days. I mean, it sounds like this guy's going to stop at nothing till he finds his son. Sure hope he makes it. That's one dedicated father, if you ask me.
After all, Nemo getting taken must be his worst nightmare. We're rooting for you, Marlin. Number 9, The Lion King. If you ask a child to explain The Lion King to you, they'll get the gist of the movie right. Mufasa, the Pride Lands king, is killed by his power-hungry brother Scar.
Long live the king.
What follows is a crazy adventure that ultimately leads his son Simba home to rule the kingdom. Yet when you're older, you see just how fleshed out the story is.
A king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, Simba, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
For instance, Scar really takes the sibling rivalry concept to an unhinged level. And if you've grieved someone near to you, Mufasa's passing will touch you in powerful new ways.
You are my son and the one true king. Remember who you are.
No, please, don't leave me.
The poignant circle of life concept that's so central to the story also really comes into focus. We've always known it's a great movie, and now we appreciate its depth even more. Number 8, Beauty and the Beast. It's a tale as old as time, but should it be?
It is sweet and strange, finding you can change, learning you were wrong.
We idolized Belle and the Beast's love when we were young. Sadly, it seems we should be using them as an example of what not to do.
That he's no Prince Charming, but there's something in him that I simply didn't see.
To state the obvious, it's not healthy to date the guy who's imprisoned you. Yes, Gaston is a horrific, dangerous monster.
It's a nightmare, but it's one exciting ride. Say a prayer, then we're there at the drawbridge of a castle, and there's something truly terrible inside.
So the Beast is a real treat in comparison, especially once he softens up. But that doesn't excuse or erase his own super harmful behavior.
Promise or no promise, I can't stay here another minute.
Oh, no, wait, please wait.
Nothing can really make up for holding an innocent person captive and mistreating them, even if you ultimately let them go. Belle is way too smart for all of this toxicity and deserves better. May we suggest some time alone? Number 7, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. As kids, we loved watching Snow White find friendship with Grumpy and the gang as she hid from the evil queen. But hindsight is 2020. She's essentially a child while they're adults.
It's a girl. She's mighty pretty. She's beautiful, just like an angel.
So why is she cooking, cleaning, and explaining basic hygiene to them? It all reeks of gender stereotypes. The way she infantilizes them doesn't sit right with us either.
Goodness me, this will never do. March straight outside and wash, or you'll not get a bite to eat.
Meanwhile, they're infatuated with her, which, considering the age gap, is creepy. Don't worry though, we haven't forgotten the prince.
Hello.
Oh.
Did I frighten you? Wait, please. Don't run away.
His rescue seemed dreamy when we were young, but it's actually the opposite.
Only for you.
Does he know his creepy, non-consensual kiss will wake Snow? Or does he have an affinity for corpses? Either way, we think this movie was the poisoned apple all along. Number 6, The Little Mermaid. Picture this. A teenage mermaid uproots her life and trades her voice for a human prince named Eric she thinks is cute.
Unfortunate soul! Go ahead! Make your choice! I'm a very busy woman and I haven't got all day. It won't cost much. Just your voice.
Most grown-ups would agree that's a bad idea. Yet we were pretty much all Team Ariel when we were little.
16 years old. I'm not a child
Don't you
anymore.
take that tone of voice with me, young lady. As long as you live under my ocean, you'll obey my rules.
But if you would just listen.
Not another word!
Today, we want to shake her and tell her to smarten up. She and Eric are essentially strangers, and frankly, she's too young to understand everything that's at stake.
Daddy, I love him!
No. Have you lost your senses completely? He's a human. You're a mermaid.
I don't care.
Her dad Triton's outrage at her reckless behavior early on is completely justified, even if his methods are counterproductive. Ariel doesn't even know what a fork is, for crying out loud. And the mess she gets herself into with Ursula proves she's in over her head.
This poor, unfortunate soul!
Sorry, someone had to say it. Number 5. Peter Pan. You probably grew up thinking this was an adventure tale about childhood. Maybe you even wondered why ABC's Once Upon a Time painted Peter Pan in such a horrid light.
You are the lucky owner of that very special heart. And now, you and it are mine.
Yet all it takes is one rewatch through adult eyes to see that they were right.
Girls talk too much.
Yes, girls talk to...
Well, get on with it, girl.
My name is Wendy. Wendy Moore, answer the door.
Wendy's enough.
His horrendous attitude and misogyny are on display from the moment we meet him. And his behavior throughout doesn't help his case either.
Well, Mr. Crocodile, do you like codfish?
You do?
Oh, Peter, no!
Sure, growing up is challenging, and you shouldn't try to rush it. Still, avoiding it forever isn't the answer either. It's about balance, which Pan has clearly never heard of.
Go back and grow up. But I'm warning you, once you're grown up, you can never come back.
Even without these issues, we can't look past the story's racist elements. Honestly, we currently see this movie as a reminder to close our windows. Number 4. Sleeping Beauty. Younger audiences see a movie about true love that's full of great music and hilarious fairies. As adults, we realize that Princess Aurora isn't an active participant in her own story.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die.
She's cursed by Maleficent shortly after she's born, and initially raised to believe she's a regular girl named Briar Rose by Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Nobody gives her enough credit to tell her the whole truth and warn her, instead leaving her unprepared and alone for Maleficent to dupe.
How could I marry a prince? I'd have to be
a princess.
And you are, dear.
Princess Aurora. Tonight we're taking her back to your father.
As a result, she spends a good chunk of the movie asleep, which adults can relate to in a different way, waiting to be awakened by a true love she barely knows with a problematic non-consensual kiss. It's a shame because Aurora had way more to offer than her beauty and singing voice. Number 3. Cinderella. When you think of fairy tales, Cinderella probably comes to mind.
The dream that you wish will come true.
It's the ultimate feel-good story where the titular character, living with her mean stepmother and stepsisters, falls in love with a prince and lives happily ever after. Except we're just now gaining a clearer understanding of how tragic Cinderella's circumstances are. Evil isn't nearly a strong enough descriptor for her stepfamily. She's completely trapped in her household and is terribly mistreated.
They give it just the right touch. Don't you think so, Drizella?
No, I don't. I think she's... why, you little thief!
In her world, the only chance at having a semblance of freedom is marriage. She can't have unconditional independence, which breaks our hearts. We also have to ask, couldn't her fairy godmother have helped her escape instead of sending her to a ball?
What will he do?
But perhaps if it would help.
No, nothing can help now. Nothing.
But you see, I have the other slipper.
This glass slipper doesn't look so appealing anymore. Number 2. Pocahontas. In real life, Pocahontas, actual name Matawaka, was a young indigenous child who was taken captive by British settlers. The story is complex and grim, to say the least. So for Disney to make it romantic by taking numerous liberties and adding in a fabricated love story,
Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
it's not only uncomfortable, but offensive. Naturally, most of us weren't old enough to have learned about the events that inspired the film the first time we watched it. So we didn't realize that it was erasing a horrific story of racism, colonialism, and pain.
My daughter speaks with the wisdom beyond her years. We have all come here with anger in our hearts, but she comes with courage and understanding.
Now that we know better, it paints the whole thing in a different, majorly unsettling light. It's probably best to leave this movie in the past. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Inside Out. Human emotions are explored with a depth and complexity that you can only appreciate later in life.
Ready to launch on your command, sir.
Just shut up!
Fire!
That's it. Go to your room.
Pinocchio. Adults know that Pleasure Island is anything but fun.
Please, I don't want to be a donkey! Let me out of here!
Quiet! You boys have had your fun. Now pay for it.
Up. It's extra powerful when you're old enough to see all that's at stake for Carl. Dumbo. The exploitation taking place at this circus is brushed aside in the film, and we see it clearly now. Zootopia. A lesson about discrimination takes center stage in kid-friendly packaging.
It may have something to do with biology.
What do you mean by that?
A biological component, something in their DNA.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Where do we start? The themes in this classic are way too sophisticated for children to fully grasp.
Judge Claude Frollo longed to purge the world of vice and sin. And he saw corruption everywhere except within.
Think about it. Claude Frollo causes a traveler woman's death and imprisons her baby Quasimodo, making him believe he was abandoned. He then refuses to let him go outside because of his appearance.
Remember what I taught you, Quasimodo. You are deformed.
I am deformed.
And you are ugly.
And I am ugly.
And these are crimes for which the world shows little pity.
That's seriously messed up, and we've only scratched the surface. Frollo pretends to be righteous, yet he discriminates against Esmeralda and the rest of the Romany people, going to fiery lengths to annihilate them. Perhaps it's because he's a regular guy, without any curses or magic at his disposal, but we're more horrified by him today than we were growing up.
Choose me or your pyre. Be mine or you will burn.
Needless to say, Hunchback really makes you stop and think as an adult.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.